Master NET here, checking in with Awaken Within. So, we're still talking about the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the power of thought. The energy is so powerful. And of course, all the emotions and feeling that are just pushing that all out there into the universe. And we already know that what we think about, we bring about or comes about. The universe is always matching our frequency of thought and energy, right? And I've already talked about this already. And the reason why I'm bringing this up again is because a good friend of mine, Linda, also just put out a video, and makes a lot of sense, right? She's like right on that same frequency as me, right? As far as talking about things like this. You know, and the other thing it reminded me about, so thank you, Linda, for that video, first of all, but second, it reminded me also how important environment is, right? So our thoughts are very important, and like Linda said, right, we have to pay attention to what we're thinking. We really do. Pay attention to what you pay attention to, or your self-dialogue, because that could be, right, not working in your favor at all. Right? Because your subconscious mind, which is about 90% of your mind, is saying one thing, but consciously you're saying you want to do something else. And we know that doesn't work. So it's so powerful. It really is. But the other thing that really made me think a little bit is about, again, how important environment is. You throw environment in there. It's powerful, right? I think it's from 6 years old to about maybe 8 or 10 to where you're at that theta frequency, okay, of almost a hypnotic state to where you're downloading things on a regular basis at that level. And please correct me, Linda, on this. But, you know, you could be in the other room playing with your trucks and cars or dolls and things like that, but you're subconsciously hearing other things that are going on in the other rooms from your parents. Maybe it's arguments, maybe it's things that are not really that positive, right? It's kind of negative. And you don't really realize, and you're downloading that stuff in, right? Right? And how your parents and grandparents are talking and, right, and doing things. That's really what you are downloading in those early years of you. And again, it reminded me of a quick example, and I mentioned this years ago, is that, again, most people think I'm 110% Italian. I look Italian, I think, right? I talk Italian, probably, forget about it, right? I come from an Italian neighborhood. I lived upstairs from my grandparents who are from Italy. My mother is Italian, but my father was born in Quebec, Canada. He's a Canuck. He was a Canuck, a French Canadian, right? I don't even feel as though I have 1% in me. Now, as we look at DNA and we look at, you know, hereditary and genetics, I guess, right, and all that stuff, but there's just nothing there. And there's no offense to the French side, but I would only go over there, you know, a certain amount of times a year. But I lived in the environment of the Italians. I lived in a neighborhood which was Italian. I lived on a street called Maple Avenue, or the Ave, we called it, Spaghetti Lane. There's actually a restaurant named after it, Spaghetti Lane in Barrington. Thank you, Mike, for a beautiful restaurant, by the way. And so I lived down the street from a place called Vienna Bakery, an Italian bakery. All right, Belasco's Vienna Bakery. Smelled the Italian bread every Sunday morning, right? The whole neighborhood was making their gravies and sauce, you know, for their afternoon lunch. It's just the way it was, right? Up the street was a church called Holy Angels Church. It was predominantly Italian. They had the feast every 15th of August, and it goes on and on and on, all right? I was 110%, and I am 110% Italian. Why? I downloaded all of it, and emotions and feelings with it. And it programmed into me to where I'm Italian. I don't care what anyone says. I'm 110% Italian, right? So think about that. Environment plus emotions and feelings and thought, all of that. It's so important. So we really have to pay attention to what we think about, like Linda said, all the time. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. We'll see you next time.